Rise of Kingdoms just revealed new information about the future of the game, including a new formation, a new legendary accessory, and a bunch more. So today we're going to jump right into the latest face-to-face with the developers for July of 2026. But before we jump in, of course, what's going on, guys? Cheers. Now, as you guys know, I am a partner creator with Rise of Kingdoms, so if you want more Rise of Kingdoms breaking news, drop a like down below. It really helps out the channel a ton, and subscribe while you're down there because we are so close to 100,000 subscribers. All right, let's jump right in here. This face-to-face with the developers was posted 35 minutes ago at the time of recording this, just enough time for me to get out of bed and make a coffee. Okay, and the first question that people have been asking the developers, allegedly, according to this, is I wish there were a quest auto refresh feature in the Alliance mobilization event. For example, if a certain type of quest hasn't been accepted for a long time, it could be refreshed automatically for a number of times under filtered conditions. The current system makes it time consuming for R4 officers to ensure that available quests are suitable for everybody to pick up. If no R4 officer is online, members may not be able to complete the event smoothly, which can ultimately affect the Alliance's ranking. This is true. I know recently they've changed I think the cooldown or the refresh timer, whatever the case is, but even still there are times where, you know, I find myself like, hey, can you guys refresh the quest because I'm looking for a specific one and it's not there. So this does make sense. Okay, thank you for your suggestion, Governor. We have also observed the consistent quest management can become a burden for R4 R5 officers in Alliance mobilization, in particular when some quests remain unaccepted for extended periods or when currently available quests are not suitable for members. Officers need to log in frequently to review and manually refresh requests. This has indeed affected the overall event experience. To address the issue, we plan to introduce the following optimizations to the quest pool refresh mechanic. Number one, for quests that remain unclaimed in the pool, refresh attempts will gradually accumulate in the corresponding quest category over time. There will be no need for R4 R5 officers to stay online for extended periods of time for refreshes. That's good news. Okay, the next thing is when an R4 R5 officer is online, they can view each quest category and manually refresh quests that are currently not suitable for Alliance members to complete. Refresh attempts are tracked independently for each category, and refreshing one category will only consume attempts for that category. When refresh attempts for a specific category are fully depleted, a cooldown will be triggered for that category. Refresh attempts will begin to regenerate once the cooldown ends. Additionally, after a quest is completed, the system will promptly generate a new quest in the pool with a baseline number of refresh attempts. With these adjustments, we aim to reduce the need for officers to remain on standby, as well as the manual management burden of maintaining the quest pool. We hope all members can participate in the Alliance mobilization event seamlessly. So this is definitely an improvement. I'm really happy about this. I like this. I mean, anything that reduces burden for the R4 R5s, that's obviously a good thing. But on the other hand, at a certain point, I asked myself, like, well, why don't we just make it so governors could just do the quests they want to do whenever they want to do them? Why do we have to go through like this whole thing of like refreshing and randomly generating quests? Like, we all know the ones that we want to do. Why don't we just do those, right? And I know that like there is a way to do that, but you need to kind of like buy the bundle for it, and it's like, are people really doing that? Maybe some whales are doing that, I don't know, but I feel like Alliance mobilization has been adjusted many times since landing in the game, and it's not like the quests have like a vast variety of different quests. There's really only a handful of them, and so, you know, I wonder, like, man, we are on rework number like 4 here or 3, okay? And so at a certain point, it's like, man, maybe the RNG nature of the quests is just not the move. Maybe we just change it to where we could just do what we want to do anyway. That's just my 2 cents, but either way, this is an improvement, so I'm happy to see that. Question 2, currently the Rock Toolkit only provides statistics for an entire kingdom, which is not very convenient for kingdoms with multiple domains. Would it be possible to add domain specific statistics in the future? Thank you for your feedback, Governor. We do plan on adding domain specific statistics to the Rock Toolkit in a future update. If a kingdom has multiple domains, governors will be able to view statistics and members for each domain separately, allowing for more accurate understanding on domain performance. This feature is currently under development. Okay, great. This will not affect me in the slightest, but you know, this is an improvement there, so I'm glad to see it. Question 3, I hope the developers will continue reducing the game's grinding requirements while strengthening measures against account piloting, cheats, and scripts. For example, making resources easier to obtain and combat controls more accessible. Okay, now this is a great question, but those two things kind of go against one another. What do I mean by that? Well, if you make it easier to get resources and easier to control combat, then it actually becomes even easier for pilots and for scripts, because the complexity of the actions and the variety of the actions they have to do actually goes down, right? So those things are kind of at a counterbalance to one another. So let's see what they have to say here. Thank you for your feedback, Governor. Reducing the burden of daily gameplay and progression has always been one of our long-term priorities. Over time, we have introduced features such as attack march army groups, auto peacekeeping for barbarians and marauders, and barbarian fort searches to help streamline routine gameplay. And I will say that is very true. This is like a very strong opening to this answer here, because, and maybe I'm biased because I've been playing since the end of 2018, but like I remember the game before all of these things, okay, and it's much better now than it was before, okay? I will say that for sure, like for sure, okay? Looking ahead, we will also expand and improve the acclaim shop while further reducing healing costs for governors who actively participate in combat. Reducing gameplay grind is an ongoing effort that requires long-term commitment. We will continue to evaluate player feedback and experiences, introduce and iterate on quality of life improvements, and refine existing systems. As always, we welcome your suggestions and feedback as we work to further improve the game. Okay, so in my current KVK, King of All Britain, I don't think, and like it's 7:45 in the morning, I just woke up, I don't even think we have an acclaim shop here. We've got the inscription shop, and I remember the acclaim shop and using it last KVK, but I am at a loss for where to find it in King of All Britain, so I don't think it's here. Okay, now again, I'm risking embarrassing myself in the comments, but like I don't see it anywhere in any of the KVK related buildings or anything like that. So maybe I'm wrong. Okay, maybe there is an acclaim shop in King of All Britain and I'm just completely blind to it because I just woke up. But perhaps one place to start would be to put the acclaim shop in every KVK. That's the first thing. The second thing is that the acclaim shop was in my previous KVK something that I did blow through very quickly, right? Like I bought everything that I cared about there very fast, and it didn't feel like it really moved the needle that much. If they really wanted it to move the needle, they would have to probably like 5x or 10x the amount of things that you can buy there. So that's kind of what that was my conclusion that I arrived at when I did use it. Reducing healing costs is also true. It's quite expensive to get the healing cost reduction from crystal tech, like the actual, like you have to get a lot of crystals to get there, right? And then you have to spend a lot of crystals to max it out. So yeah, I'm curious to know how they're going to further improve this, but they did not touch on pretty much anything else, right? So gems, piloting, cheating scripts, they didn't really touch on any of that here. They just kind of said like, look, we're going to be able to make resources better and more manageable in the future, and that's a good thing, right? But that's kind of all they pointed out here. So I'm interested to see how they improve the acclaim shop, and it's a step in the right direction, honestly, so that's a good thing as well. Question 4, some items in the game are now rarely used, or I've simply ended up with a large stockpile of them, for example deceptive troops. Are there any plans to adjust these in the future? So they've already done this at the time of recording this video. They've already changed this happened yesterday actually. So they removed all the deceptive troops and resource item boosts. The deceptive troops were changed into spy glasses, anti-scouting spy glasses. Okay, they converted into resources for the boost items, and then every VIP level got a 25% boost permanently, so that's a good thing. Okay, now the other thing that I will mention here is that it was my understanding that there would be a cap on the amount of the gathering speed enhancement to 30 days. As of right now, that cap is not working. As you can see, I have 59 days of gathering enhancement, and I can continue to use these, right? It'll go up to 67 days. So yeah, I don't know if there was supposed to be a cap. I thought they said there was supposed to be a cap. There currently is not a cap. Okay, so if the devs are watching, they can go ahead and fix that if they want to. If they don't want to have a cap, then that's fine. I don't care either way, right? Like I'll just have it permanently. That's fine with me. But that's that. This has already been done, so we'll just skip that. Question 5, in May's face-to-face with the developers, a new duel-based gameplay mode was mentioned. Could you share more details? Thank you for your interest. As mentioned in our previous face-to-face with the developers, we're currently developing a brand new KVK gameplay mode tentatively titled Standard of Honor. Our goal is to create a battlefield experience that places greater emphasis on strategic decision making and direct PvP face-offs. The core mechanics under development are and below building mechanics in relevant KVK seasons. Each camp will be able to allocate construction quotas for dual buildings to its alliances. These buildings can be used to expand alliance territory, but they cannot be placed within King's land at this time. That's good. Contest and protection mechanics. Once a dual building has been constructed, it will enter a contest phase lasting several hours. During this phase, governors can launch rallies and station garrison troops in the building to engage enemy forces. Battles that take place within a dual building are isolated from other combat on the battlefield, meaning participating troops will not be affected by outside engagements. Okay, interesting. Okay, so like nearby armies can't be buffing the rally or something like that, I'm assuming. If the attacking side wins during the contest phase, they will be able to burn the building normally. If the building survives until the end of the contest phase, it will enter a protection phase for a set period of time, during which it cannot be attacked. That's really big, okay, because again, this expands alliance territory. Okay, so if you are able to actually hold this building, you now have alliance territory that is protected. It can't even get hit, right? So who knows how long the period of time is going to be, but this could definitely be meaningful. So I'm really interested to see how this is going to work. Casualty rules. Unlike standard alliance flag battles, all units severely wounded in dual buildings will be sent directly to hospitals, reducing the troop attrition that comes with taking part in duels. Okay, so no deads, basically, literally no deads. It's just going to fill your hospital unless your hospital's overfilled, then you'll get deads, I assume. So this is really cool. I like this a lot because it just allows players to have fun, right? It just allows players to just fight, right? You don't have to worry about dying troops or whatever. Just throw them in there, right? Then you don't have to worry about people who, oh, I don't have enough troops for King's Land, like blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, well, now they're not even gonna die, so now just throw them in there, right? This gameplay mode is still under development and refinement. The final name, rules, and implementation details will be announced upon release. Welcome feedback. Okay, cool. I like this. This is cool. This seems like it's similar to the Trojan War Colosseum, but instead of individual armies, it's rallying garrison. That's kind of how I'm imagining this at, you know, like I said, 8 in the morning without much cognitive thought, because I'm only about 2/3 of the way done with my coffee, but it sounds cool. I'm excited to see it. Question 6. Okay, speaking of Trojan War here, okay, I would like another story to have a dueling game mode similar to that in Trojan War. For players who do not have much time to participate in open field battles, being able to engage in combat and earn kills in a more accessible way is a great experience. I agree. I really liked the Colosseum. I think that's what it was called. I liked this a lot in Trojan War. It was cool. It only came around like two or three times, at least to my experience. Maybe I just missed them. Okay, but all in all, I thought it was cool. I don't feel like people got a crazy amount of kill points from it. Maybe they did, but I liked this a lot. Okay, thank you for your suggestion, Governor. Providing more diverse and accessible combat experience has always been an important part of each KVK gameplay. We're planning to introduce a new game mode, a cross story similar to the Olympian Arena in Trojan War. The mode will become available once Pass 5 and Lost Kingdoms are unlocked. This mode will provide governors with an independent arena for battles to ensure it does not interfere with existing maps or battlefield experiences. It will be implemented in a separate map event. Okay, so that is kind of different from how it works in Trojan War, but really, like, it didn't matter that it was on the map or not. Okay, so that's totally fine. I think they also announced this already, so this is not that new, but this is cool. The core mechanics will be consistent with the Olympian Arena to preserve more authentic competitive combat experience. Upon entering the arena, troops will receive crystal tech buffs and battle will incur sev wounds. Okay, governors who achieve high rankings will also receive generous amounts of honor points. It's still under development. Awesome. Okay, this is fantastic. I haven't heard anybody complain about that event in Trojan War. Like, that is a very cool part of that KVK, so I like that. Very cool stuff. Question 7. I'd like to learn more about upcoming formations so I can better plan my progression in advance. Big one right here. Look at that. Look at the amount of feedback they've gotten already on this. Okay, thank you for your interest, Governor. We currently plan to release Pincer Formation 2 armaments around August of 2026. Huh? Nani? What? August? That is in 1 month. We're getting Pincer 2 in 1 month. It is already July. Happy July, by the way. So next month, Pincer 2 confirmed. At the same time, we will be enhancing the formation's effects to give it a more distinct role within the smite damage system. Okay, that we're going to unpack in just a second. Based on the current design, the upgraded Pincer formation is expected to provide a 12% smite damage bonus. Before its official release, all governors will have the opportunity to preview these changes in game. Please refer to future in-game announcements for the official release schedule and final implementation details. Okay, so this is a bombshell, ladies and gentlemen. Let's break this down. Okay, Pincer Formation 1 says the user's troop deals 10% more smite damage. Let's take a look at over at Wedge 2, 12% more skill damage. Okay, so we know one thing already for certain. Pincer 2 is already, it's just better. Okay, it is just better. It is simply better than what is already in the game. It brings it up to par with the existing Wedge 2 formation. Okay, that much we know for certain, but here's what we don't know. Okay, this says that it will have a distinct role within the smite damage system. What does that mean? Okay, now one of the things that a lot of the community, myself specifically, have been or previously were speculating was that the second version of these formations could potentially be rally garrison focused. Right now, Wedge 2 came out and totally blew that theory apart. Right, like that just was not the case. Wedge 2 was just categorically better in every single way, and there's no debate, to the point where people complain about it, and then they had to change the whole system and make it so you could use the old armaments with the new formation, and that's pretty much, you know, you never use the old formation because it went away. It turned from 5% to 12%, and now it's just Wedge, and that's it. But they're saying here specifically that Pincer 2, as I'm going to call it, okay, will be enhancing the formation's effects to give it a more distinct role within the smite damage system. Okay, so that could mean a million different things, right? Frankly, it could mean a million different things. They could simply be implying that the inscriptions are just going to function differently. Okay, I don't know, but it also could mean that it's not going to be the best formation, like de facto best formation for infantry in every scenario. Right now, the fact that it's categorically better from just a bonus perspective does make me feel like it's going to be more similar to a Wedge 2 than anything else, right? But just the fact that they specifically say that it will have a distinct role within the smite damage system, that I'm really curious about, right? So maybe it's the case that, you know, Pincer 2 is 12% bonus to smite damage, but all of the inscriptions are very heavily focused on single target damage, right? That could be the case, in which case maybe Sun Tzu Prime is definitely somebody you want Pincer 2 for, but your Bai Chi Liu Che March, maybe Pincer 1 is actually better, even though it's only 10% damage instead of 12%, right? I'm really curious to see how this is going to work. The other thing about this is that everybody, myself included, expected that the next release for the formations would be Delta 2, right? Because we got Delta formation before we got Pincer formation, by the way. So the release order, for those of you that weren't there or you don't remember, it was all the original formations, right? Then we got a couple of BS ones like the circle formation and all that stuff. Nobody really used those. Then we got Delta formation. Then we got Pincer formation. Okay, now there might have been some other miscellaneous ones thrown in there that no one cares about, but from the formations people care about, that was the order, right? Wedge was the first original formation, Wedge and Arch formation, right? Then we got the Delta for cavalry, then we got Pincer. Okay, so it would stand to reason that they would rework Wedge first because it's the oldest one, it was the most outdated. Okay, so bring that up to current meta, right? Or exceed the current meta a little bit. Then you would think that they would rework the second oldest one, which would be Delta, right? And here we could see they're not doing that. Now my expectation as to why they're not doing that is because we are expecting new cavalry commanders sometime around the beginning of September. If you guys missed my last video, that is a very important video to watch if you don't want to waste your legendary commander sculptor. So if you missed that video, definitely check it out on the channel. But in that video, I talked about how I suspect the next calves are coming at the beginning of September. It could be end of August, right, if they wanted to push it up, or it could be end of September because that is when the anniversary events are going to happen for Rise of Kingdoms. Okay, so anywhere in there is a fair game, I would say, for the new calves, and I think them lining it up with the anniversary would make a lot of sense, right? So keep that in mind. But it's my expectation that perhaps they don't want to release a brand new super powerful cavalry commander and put Delta 2 in the game just a month before that, right? Then that would catapult cavalry way stronger than any other troop type in the game, right? That's my theory here. Okay, I have no idea, obviously. Even as a partner creator, I don't have insight or a knowledge to these behind the scenes things. They don't tell us these things. Okay, so I don't know why they're doing this. That's my best guess, though. I think it makes sense logically, you know, because at that point, if you're going to release a new formation and a new set of cavalry commanders, by the way, they're going to release a field commander and a rally commander, right? And so they're gonna have to figure out like, okay, how do we not only balance these new commanders with the existing calves and the existing meta and the existing delta formation, but now they would have to balance it with a newer, better delta formation. It would be a lot to balance all at once, right? That's my guess here, really. But besides that, I have no idea why they are doing Pincer formation 2 before delta formation 2. It could just be to screw over cav players and make them have the oldest formation for a few more months, right? Like maybe that's it. Cavs have been getting the short end of the stick ever since we don't have another good secondary for Arthur. Right now, Arthur is still being run with a leadership commander that is, of course, at the time of recording this, Hector, but it could be Vercingetorix depending on how testing goes later this week, or you're using David if you're running like a 3-army lineup. But my point is, like, they are still missing a proper 2 cav lineup, and now they're going to be missing an updated formation, which is kind of crazy. Okay, so all I gotta say is the next cavs better be popping off. Okay, they better be dominant. Okay, they better be so good that we don't need Attila anymore. That's what I'm gonna say. All right, that's how good they need to be. But okay, at the same time, like, this is very curious. I don't know how this is going to work. I hope that they don't take the same route as Wedge 2, because remember, a lot of backlash was for Wedge 2, like so much that they immediately had to change the system within like a month. Okay, so there was a lot of backlash for the fact that Wedge 2 was just categorically better. Now with Wedge, you could make the argument that like, okay, Wedge 1 was categorically worse, so they had to bring it up to par, right? And so from that perspective, it's like, okay, that makes sense. That does not make sense with Pincer. Pincer is arguably, you know, the second best formation in the game, right? Wedge 2 being number 1, Pincer being number 2, Delta being number 3. There's some debate there, but I would say that's pretty reasonable. So perhaps Pincer 2 is going to have a distinct role because they saw all the backlash from Wedge 1 and they were like, okay, well, we can't just do something that's just better, right? If it's just vanilla better, then it's like kind of boring, right? So perhaps that's why they've said this as well. Again, this is all speculation. I mean, look, there's already backlash. No surprise Amthala is here as well. Okay, there's already backlash here, right? Amthala is probably looking for Delta 2, okay, which I am as well, right? I don't feel like I need a Pincer 2 yet. I would have rather them do Delta 2 as well. So that's, you know, that's just my 2 cents. But either way, there's already backlash just from them announcing this. So I'm really curious to how this is going to go. Hopefully they learned their lesson with Wedge 2 and they won't make it just categorically better. But at the same time, if you're watching this video, start saving your formation choice chests. I said this before Wedge 2 and I was correct, by the way. You could open those chests and simply just get Wedge 2 stuff right out of the gate. Okay, the other thing that they don't mention here is a conversion event. Remember when Wedge 2 landed in the game, you were able to convert your progress from Wedge 1 to Wedge 2. They don't mention that here. Now that's not to say it won't happen. I suspect it will happen, but again, just playing it safe here, they didn't say anything. So start saving your stuff now. You've got between 4 and 8 weeks, depending on when in August this lands, to start saving all that stuff. All right, so keep that in mind. But Pincer 2 is coming. I spent a lot of time on that. Let's move on. There are currently no legendary gathering accessories in the game. Are there any plans to add them in the future, giving players a clearer progression goal for gathering? Thank you for your interest, Governor. We are planning to introduce a brand new gathering accessory, Timeless Amber, to this season of Conquest based on the current design. Its effect will increase the gathering speed of all resources by 15%. The accessory is currently planned to be obtainable through the Season of Conquest shop. Please refer to future in-game announcements for the official release schedule, acquisition methods, and final effects. Okay, so yeah, no one was asking for this, frankly, and also no one's gonna spend their KVK coins here. I mean, like, what are we talking about? I mean, I expect it to be 180,000 coins, just like every other accessory there. If it's cheaper, maybe some people will get it, but at the same time, this says all resources, so perhaps gems, right? That would be pretty cool. Maybe you could get some value there if you're like really hardcore online all the time gathering gems. But yeah, I just don't know. I mean, I guess some people would craft it eventually if they had enough bone and they just had extra coins laying around, but I don't know. It's cool, right? Don't get me wrong, it's cool. I'm glad that they're adding something new here, but I don't know if that's anything that we really cared about or needed. And then the last question here, the current pace of the preparation season feels rather slow. Some kingdoms are unified quickly, but then have to wait more than a month for the next major battles to begin. I hope hope the overall pace of the preparation season can be accelerated. Thank you for your suggestion, Governor. We have also noticed that the lengthy wait period in the current preparation season can negatively impact the experience of some governors. To address this issue, we're planning a series of adjustments guided by a simple goal: less waiting, more battles. We believe this could create a more engaging and streamlined season experience overall. Our planned improvements include shortening the preparation season. We will reduce unnecessary downtime during prep season, allowing governors to enter the next stage of competitive gameplay more quickly, optimizing related content schedules alongside the shorter season duration. We will adjust the timing of related content, including map progression, chronicle milestones, and event opening times to ensure a smoother and more cohesive experience. These adjustments will first be introduced through the Pioneer experience in select new kingdoms. Meanwhile, we will continue to refine the season based on gameplay data and governor feedback before gradual rollout. Now, what they're referring to here is the preparation season for new kingdoms. Okay, so these are brand new kingdoms in the game, and they are not even in KvK 1 yet. Okay, so what they are saying is they're going to speed up the preparation season because some kingdoms are unified quickly. This I understand why they are doing this, but at the same time, I don't know if I necessarily agree. Okay, and here's why. And it looks like maybe I'm in good company here, but the reason that I feel this way is because if your kingdom is unifying very quickly, that means that you probably already have played Rise of Kingdoms. You already, this is your second account or third account, or it's a restart account or project or whatever the case might be. There are many reasons why people would replay the early game. Okay, and if you are whaling up and unifying quickly and progressing quickly, that means this is not your first time playing Rise of Kingdoms. Okay, and so for you, then yeah, it feels like this, you know, waiting a month for the next thing does feel bad, right? But we have to remember that the preparation season's primary objective is for new players, right? It's to get new players acclimated to the game, understanding the game. And I think old players forget, frankly, they just forget just how overwhelming the early game can be for Rise of Kingdoms. You have to learn everything, right? You don't understand the equipment system. You don't understand commander pairings. You don't understand talents. You don't know that your secondary commander's talents don't do anything, right? Like, new players have years of things they have to learn to catch up to the game. And so accelerating the preparation season, in my opinion, is not good for new players. And on top of that, it's definitely not good for free-to-play players, right? Like, free-to-play players, you are going to have less time to prepare. I mean, it's literally called the preparation season, and you're reducing the amount of preparation you can do, right? So I really question that aspect of it. It feels like this is catering towards the whales and the players that are just replaying the game for a second or third time. And I don't think that that is how the early game should be built, right? The early game should be built exclusively for new players. And if you're an old player and you want to replay that, great, right? Fantastic, right? Go ahead and do it. But they should not be catering the early game experience to older players, to whale players. They should be catering the new game experience to maximize player retention. Okay, that should be the North Star for all the new kingdoms. Maximize player retention. That should frankly be the only goal for new kingdoms. Okay, because with a game like Rise of Kingdoms, as old as it is, the number one thing that it will continue to struggle with moving forward is getting new players, right? Because as the game gets older, it gets harder and harder to join as a new player, right? I mean, like, it's just overwhelming. There's 8-9 years worth of content. Like, oh my god, what do you mean I'm never going to catch up? If these guys, Omniarch's been playing for 8 years, I'm never going to catch up, right? Now, that's not entirely true, but that's the thought process for a new player, right? So that's my thoughts on the early game. I do not think that there should be any changes to the early game that exclusively benefit, you know, people replaying the game or spending a ton. It should literally just be like, how do we make the early game so fun, so engaging, so interesting that people play the game and they're like, oh my god, this is so good. All those ads were ridiculous. I can't believe I didn't play the game because the ads were ridiculous. Now that I'm finally playing it, I'm like, oh my god, the game's fantastic, right? That should be the only goal of the early game. And I don't know if this aligns with that, but that's what they're doing. So, and maybe I'm wrong, right? Like, maybe there are a ton of new players that are just kind of sitting around waiting, twiddling their thumbs, doing nothing. But I suspect if you're a free-to-play player, then, you know, you need as much time as you can to prepare. So I don't know, you guys can let me know if I'm right about that or not in the comment section below. And while you're down there, drop a thumbs up on the video, especially if you made it all the way to the end here. It really helps out the channel a ton. And consider subscribing to the channel. You might think you're sub, but you're actually not. Double check down below. With that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. This has been Omniarch. I'll talk to you guys again soon. Peace.